All right. How's everybody doing? It is Monday, November 13th, 2023. And I got to be honest, we're not 100% sure if we're going to make it to the end of the stream because there's been a lot of technical difficulties tonight.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is technically our third stream of the night or whatever. And we've barely made it through two of them.
One of them is the Lost podcast.
Yeah. We got about halfway through a pre-recorded podcast that who knows if anyone will ever see it. Well, no, they won't.
It's probably better off that way because we were about 20 minutes in and we had only discussed like two people.
Like two people, yeah. So
it was probably just as well.
Anyway,
no one needs to see that.
So, we're going to attempt to try to talk about Survivor 45 tonight. Sure. And hopefully we'll make it through, Hopefully we'll make it through. And
I feel good about it.
I do too, actually. I think our luck's going to turn around. So let's kick this off, huh? Let's kick this sucker off. All right. My name is John Dunphy, and I'm joined by my fellow tribe mates, Mr. Kyle Petty, Miss Gina Morgino, and Mr. Mikey Marmon. I'm excited to talk about this with you guys. First, I'm almost forgetting. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Please find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Go over there, subscribe to us, follow us on any social media page. Throw us a like, a comment, a subscription, and just get engaged with us because we love new people and we want to meet you. So come hang out with us. Come hang out with us. Okay, let's get into this episode. There's been a lot going on this season. This has been a great season. I've been really enjoying this cast. So the first thing I want to ask you guys about, though, because this episode was coming on the heels of an explosive tribal council, right? We saw finally the shot in the dark, really, really, be a meaningful thing in the game. Kaleb used his shot in the dark. Every single vote that was cast against him was canceled out, which we knew was only 11 votes. But from what everybody else thought in the tribe, they thought it was 12 votes. Nobody picked up on it because Austin did not vote in order to make his idol a fully fledged idol. So I wanted to ask you guys, we watch a lot of these shows, we understand the strategic side of it and trying to be very in tune with what's happening, what everybody's thinking. Do you think if you were sitting in a tribal council, would you have the thought in mind of I should try to count these votes?
I know I probably should, but I don't think it would ever cross my mind.
After something like that was a crazy tribal even before that. There was a lot of heat going, and it's the end of the day. They're all starving and tired. The only one I can even imagine counting those votes is Emily, and I'm surprised that we didn't get something from her. We might in the future. I don't know, but I feel like she's the only one in this cast that I would have expected to pick up on that.
Yeah, it's easier to pick it up when there's only 5, 6, 7 votes or something, but 11 and 12, I would not notice the difference between that.
Yeah.
I also I'd be sitting there 1, 2, 3, 4.
But I also feel like Mikey was saying, everything was so crazy in that tribal. By the time we got there, they were just seeing damn, literally everybody voted for Kaleb and none of these votes count. What's going to happen? I don't think any of them were all right, well, how many are there? They were just oh my God, we all did it. And now what do we have to do now?
Right.
What I will say is that he's lucky that the record was 10 and not 11 because he would have thought he broke a record until he got home.
That's right. Oh man. Matt says I'd be losing my shit. We've established on this podcast that math at night is also a challenge. Yeah, we know that. We do know that.
We don't like math here.
Math is always a challenge.
Gina loves math. We just don't.
I asked one question. The math then between now and finale?
What were you saying, Gina?
I asked a question once And this is how I get treated.
That is not true. You ask a question once per stream, asking us to add, subtract, multiply, divide, do fractions, and do decimals. Just all just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now, before we really get into like the substance of the episode, right? Like real game talk and stuff and gameplay, I wanted to ask you guys about one other thing. Because we finally have reached the merge, right? The tribe is all together as one big group. And yet in this episode, when we got to the immunity challenge, they were separated into two groups yet again. And I definitely think it was fun and it was definitely exciting because having everyone compete in this challenge, but having two groups where one person gets immunity and then those two groups are separated and we have two different people getting, voted out. Like, that's cool. That's fun. But to me, I felt a little bit like, all right, we just merged and now we're breaking up into two groups of 6 again, going to tribal council. And it feels like we're back in week 1 with small tribes going in. Like, how did you guys feel about this twist coming right now? And I know that you kind of have to do it now because you can't really do this when you're breaking people up into 5 and 5 or 4 and 4. Like, it had to come now when it's still 6 and 6. But like, I don't know. I really wanted to see everybody in there with one try. I feel like it would have changed this episode and the votes and like, the game talk a lot. I don't know. What did you guys think about like splitting back up into groups of 6 again?
I feel like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. You go.
I was gonna say, I feel like I would either prefer, like, I get what you're saying, that if it happens later, there's less people, but at that point, then do it before, make this be like the last thing before the true merge. Like, I don't like the idea of like, we're all now on the same beach, we're at merge, we have one tribe where we're merged, and then, oops, we're 2 tribes. Like, I don't love that.
Yeah, I agree. It should have happened a little later. I think the reason that they did it this early is because it gave them that added, like, tension of who someone's going to make the jury and someone's not going to make the jury, which I think is the only reason it came this early. But I mean, for me, like, I love a 2 tribe split. Like, that's my favorite. That's kind of my favorite parts of the game. I really miss when they used to start off with 2 big tribes and then go to 3 afterwards. So like, I like to see that 2 tribe dynamic, just one. But yeah, I liked it. I liked the twist. I think it was fun. And I like that we split, but I just think it came too early also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kyle, any thoughts? Look like you're pondering over there. That's why I just wanted to make sure.
I'm not pondering. I'm tired of the small numbers. I don't care when it comes. I'd actually be fine with not doing this twist at all if it was going to mean that I have to deal with numbers of 5 or 6 because I just had that. So you haven't really presented a change for me. I think it's exciting when you're talking about if you begin with 2 tribes that are larger and then you merge and then you split off to something smaller. That's a little bit of a different conversation. But all I've been dealing with is small numbers, and I've been frustrated to point with that. I want to see what the politics look like when everyone's voting together and everyone's doing the same thing. Like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah. No, I agree because I felt like it was kind of a weird start to the game with how Lulu was getting decimated. Like, it was so bad that like, and who knows if we would have gotten a tribe swap anyway. But I feel like because of how bad Lulu was doing, like a tribe swap was necessary. And then we finally get to the Mergatory and we get this crazy tribal council where every vote that was cast gets negated. And it's like, okay, now we're in this big group. All these tribal councils are going to be wild. And it's like, nope. We're going to spit our tires a little bit and we're going right back to what we've just been doing the last, 5 weeks of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it absolutely changed who would have gone home that tribal. It would have been a completely different story had it been one tribe. I don't think Sifu would have been on the chopping block at all, to be totally honest with you. I think the eyes would have been on Bruce in this one and probably Kaleb still. Yeah. But yeah, it would have been a totally different situation.
I agree. Mm-hmm. So this has been a great season and a great cast, but this was like the first thing that popped up this season that I was like, I don't really love this choice. But I also did want to ask you guys a little bit because it feels like there's still so many Belo people, still so many Reba people in the game with Kaleb and Emily in the middle. And I feel like we keep getting like hints of like people feeling like, oh, there's going to be this Belo Reba war. But I don't know if we're ever really going to get that because it feels like they're both at war, like within themselves. have like
Yeah.
Belo, where it's like Bruce and Katora going at it, and Kendra wants Bruce out. And then there's Kelly, who like sees the frustrations of Bruce, but also knows that Bruce trusts her, so like wants to keep her as an ally. And then you have Jake, who's a part of Belo, who like wants to work with Kaleb. Kaleb is Bruce's like #1 target. And then even in Reba, we know that like Julie and Dee and Austin and Drew are close, but they were totally fine cutting J Maya. They're totally fine getting rid of Sifu. Like, are we ever going to actually see a Belo Reba war? Are they just going to be picking themselves off before we ever get that? Like,
yeah, it's hard to say, especially at this point though. Like, there is only one Lulu left, so unless Emily becomes the target, it is in some way, shape, or form a Belo Reba war, but like not to the extent, because they were never fully together to the extent that they make it seem like they were. I feel like because J Maya and Sifu were on the outs of Reba from the beginning, and Belo was weird from the start too, and I don't even think no one's gone home from Belo yet, right? It's still Bruce, Jake, Kelly, Katura, the other two. Oh no, Brando went home.
Brando
No,
left.
I'm looking at the cast list over here now, and I'm like, literally, which of these people were on what tribe?
Right. Brando left. So coming into this episode, there were still 5 Reba, 5 Belo, and 2 Lulu. But I don't know. It just seems like they're looking so much like there's so much infighting within those original tribes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a war the way they think it's going to be a war.
Right.
Civil war.
Well, it should be a war, and that's part of the problem too. If you had started this proper and you actually had 2 large tribes and whatever, then you can have smaller factions. But once you force them all to work independently but collectively in these smaller groups and you're mixing everyone up, well, now I have a history with this person because I did work with this person on this vote. I did this with that person. I've established something with them. So like now the lines are blurred, which could mean some excitement down the road. I guess we'll see how that goes. But like that Belo Reba war, you're not going to quite get that the same because there's been already too much mixing.
Yeah. Although at this point, Reba is to the point where I don't think there's going to be much more infighting because now we've got it's just the 4. It's Dee, Julie, Austin, and Drew left for them. And so the infighting, we're now going to be moving over to Belo as far as that goes. We're going to see that Katura Bruce battle come head to head.
We already missed it.
I can't wait.
It's
bring it on, baby.
It's just funny to me too because like there was even a moment where like certain things that like you think might be like Reba wants to take a shot at Belo, like how like vocal has Austin been about like, oh, I got denied that sandwich, so I have to take out J Maya and Kelly. And then in this episode, we see him talking to Emily about how like he doesn't even want to take out Kelly yet, who is a Belo member, because then he's going to have a bigger target on his back because people will know that he has a full idol. And it's just exactly, he'll actually have 2. But it's funny to me that like even in that moment, it's like you can literally target someone. You're Reba, Austin. You can target someone in Belo and Kelly and get a full idol, and you're not willing to do it. It's like that's why it feels like Reba and Belo are so unwilling to actually fight with each other.
Right.
Like it's just weird.
Horrible.
I don't know.
We shall see.
Disaster.
But yeah, okay. Let's talk about the immunity challenge a little bit. This was a good one. It was like a classic, right? But because they broke up into 2 different groups, it was kind of a twist on it. These large poles in the sand with these small, tiny little footholds. Just basically the goal was to stay up as long as you could, longer than everybody else. And the women killed it. Dee and Kelly absolutely smoked this competition.
Dee and Kelly were comfy. Like they were not going anywhere.
She had my favorite part was at one point Dee turned to the red team and she was like, "We're eating tonight, guys. We're eating today."
Yeah, I gotta tell you, those
really great to see that toe come into play.
I was just gonna say like those big toes. You know, like they're
what a great payoff. What a great
winner of this game. They're gonna win her this game.
Very well could. She might have been a target had she not won that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
They actually flat out said she would have been the target.
Yeah, Jake sees her as the most influential player in the game.
Which I think is a fair read, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gives
Which does
Jessie
hint
vibes
at
a little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite
Which does
as-
hint, though, it hints at a potential Reba Belo war if Jake is looking at D. So
Yeah. I'm interested to see where they end up going next episode, because I feel like the two biggest options would be D and Bruce, but I think Bruce is going to be still going towards Katura now because of that. So we'll see. It could go any number of ways.
yeah. Kyle, it looked like you had something over there.
Well, I have a very unrelated thought, not completely unrelated, but not related to what y'all is saying. It has to do with the challenge, though. I want to know how they got up on this pole to begin with.
Ladder.
A ladder. I was gonna say, is it like a fire truck that goes down to each pole? Like extend the ladder? Like, how does this happen? Because like some people were very high on the pole, some people were very, very low, and it's like, so how did you decide that? Even if it is a ladder, did we see them maybe when this challenge started? Had they already slid some? Did you really choose to be that low? Who would choose to be that low?
They talked about this on the official podcast with Jeff, and he said that basically they let them choose where to start, and because the poles are supposedly much higher than they seem to be on TV, like they're like very, very tall, and so there were some people that
Fear
were
of heights.
Yeah, that just like didn't want to be that high up, so they gave them the option to start a little lower so they could get their bearings more. But he then said on the podcast too, he was like, I hated the way it looked though, so from now on they're all starting at the top, which I thought was funny.
That is funny.
Well, it's not supposed to be about you, Jeff. So there's a side note.
Yeah, well,
but like,
he's a producer.
So how
But
much
to be
time
fair,
passes like after that though? Like, so you get up there on the ladder, and like, am I waiting for that one all the way down there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Before we start, like, am I
wonder
already
if there's
burnt?
I wonder if there's 12 ladders and they all go up together at the same time. I'm
I
not
have
sure.
to hope
Production, and
so.
production comes together, whoomp, and then we
Yeah,
start.
really.
Like,
Probably.
yeah, I mean, like, I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, I'd like to see how that all.
Let's
shapes
get a
out. I mean, like,
survivor on here so
you
we
know,
can-
my dream job is the dream team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh god, I want to do it so bad.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
gotta get somebody on here to tell us.
To tell us
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
just hanging up there, just waiting for, like, D or Julie to shuffle up the pole? And like, nah, it's got to
For
just
D to
hang
get her
here
toes
for
in
how
there?
long? Right, exactly. Like, are you
D to
good
get her
yet,
big toe in a
girl?
little
Are you good? Like, how does that really work?
Yeah,
I'd
but
love
I mean,
to
they
know.
have to be up there for a little, like some more amount of time, because like Emily dropped right away, and it didn't look like she had just gotten up there and fallen off. So it's like she was up there for some amount of time before she fell.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotta be
Yeah.
curious to know what the setup of that looks like. That's all.
I agree.
Mhm.
But so yeah, we did have two groups. The red group was D, Jake, Austin, Julie, Kaleb, and Katura. And the blue group was Kelly, Bruce, Sifu, Kendra, Emily, and Drew. Okay. Kelly won from her heat, but D won the overall thing. And this was not just an immunity challenge, but also a reward challenge. So D, because she lasted the longest for the red team, they all got to go to the sanctuary and enjoy some tacos and some soft drinks. This also meant that the blue team that lost, they had to go back to the old Lulu camp. So while the red team was eating tacos and talking and all that, the blue team went over, and it was very interesting to see because we found out that Drew left his bag at the Reba camp, which meant he didn't have his safety without power advantage. And really, like, no, they didn't have any food, right? I mean, I can imagine there's no food there at all. At least if you get to go back to your actual camp, like maybe you have something, some coconut or something that's one last fish that's laying around that you can cook or something. Like, this was a rough go for the blue side.
Anything that would have been there would have came back when they merged. So there is just nothing. Just nothing.
I thought it was interesting, Drew, too, because of that. Like, he felt very vulnerable, obviously. So we saw him having multiple conversations. One where he was like talking to Bruce, like, yeah, Sifu seems like the obvious target. But then later on, was telling somebody else, like, no, we got to get Bruce out. Like, it was very interesting to see Drew try to maneuver, like, how to figure out, because I think people have been thinking that Sifu has an idol, right? So he was thinking there's 3 Belo members there. If they want to vote out Sifu, but he has an idol, I'm going home. What did you think of Drew, like his scrambling, here without having his advantage and all that stuff?
I mean, it worked out well for him in the end, but I totally get the scramble though, because it's like, that could have been a game ruining move. Leaving the bag at camp could have sent him home, and he would have like left with his bag still at camp with that advantage still in his bag, and that would have sucked. So
I remember reading something this week that like, because people were asking like why Sifu didn't try to like do anything with like the fake idol or whatever, and it's because he also left his bag at camp and didn't have any, like he couldn't use anything with it. And Matt brings up here, we've seen this happen last season too. Like it's been like a thing that we've seen happen like the last couple of seasons, if people just don't bring their bags to challenges and then they have nothing when it comes time to go to tribal.
Yeah. And I bet you probably feel like you're safe once you've merged. Like it's like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Sure.
So it's like, why bring the bag? It's heavy, you're weird, don't want to deal with it. I feel like for me, man, I even like in regular life, sometimes I'll show up places and never take my backpack off. I think if I was on that beach, that backpack would be with me at all times.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd go anywhere without it.
Or at least if it's like an idol or something like an advantage, just keep it in your pocket or something.
Yeah.
Like, don't even keep it in a bag.
Get some tight undies, just shove them in.
Because then it's also like, people have the ability to like go through your shit if you're not there. Like just keep it on you,
Right.
Yeah, we saw it happen with them at the tribe swap. Was it Brando that they literally like opened his bag and searched through it while he was gone?
It
was, right?
Remember.
It was D and Julie, and they had to like memorize the knot.
Was it Sean? Was it Sean?
Sean, that's
it was
who it
Sean.
was. It
You're
was
right.
Sean.
You're right. You're right.
It was Sean. Yeah.
Because he had like the fancy tie on it too, so like they like memorized the tie, what order everything was in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, absolutely. That bag not leaving my side.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I guess at the end of the day, like there was nothing in there, so didn't matter.
Right.
But still,
I think for Drew though, this may have actually worked in his favor. Like, yes, we saw him scramble and everything, but now you've got that advantage for a rainy day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Whereas you may not have scrambled so hard, and you may have just like tried to use it.
Yeah. I will say though, it didn't seem, maybe it was because he scrambled so hard and so fast, but it didn't seem like anybody was really going that direction anyway. So he might have been all right without it regardless. But
it was a soft scramble.
Yeah, a soft scramble.
A soft scramble.
I do love a scrambled egg.
Low heat.
Low heat.
Oh jeez.
So back at the same camp where Drew was scrambling, we also saw Kendra doing a lot of work to try to get votes on Bruce. But it was Kelly stepping in because, like I was saying earlier, obviously she sees the frustrations that everyone else sees with working with Bruce. But more than Kendra, more than Jake, Kelly sees Bruce as an ally because he seems to trust her no matter what. So what do you think? Do you think it's like a good idea for Kelly to keep Bruce around in this case, or like, do you think the better play would have been to take Bruce out?
I mean, for Kelly, Bruce is a shield because no one is bringing her name up as long as he's around,
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get like from her perspective that instinct to let's keep this guy in the game a little longer. She might not have felt. It's hard to say how much they know about how out on the out Sifu was. So she might have felt like if we don't get this guy out now, while there's not a lot of Reba around, we'll never get him out. I think that was, so that's like, I think from her perspective, it makes total sense that this isn't the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the same reasons, it makes sense that Kendra was like, this is the time,
Right. She felt like this was like her opportunity.
Yeah.
But
it would have been really sad to see Bruce go without Katura being there. That would have been really anticlimactic.
Yeah, she deserves to be there for the eviction party.
She deserves. Give her the snuffer. Let her do it.
Yeah, let her do it.
Did you think Bruce might play his idol in their tribal council?
For a second, maybe, but I don't know.
I honestly didn't.
They tried to fake us out, though. You
Yeah,
could
they
see
did,
that, like, they
but
showed him. It looked like he was kind of reaching for something, but like, no.
it didn't seem to me in that tribal that he needed to be worried. Really, like Kendra did some talking to like get the, I guess, to calm Sifu a little bit, but it didn't really seem like
No,
there was ever any doubt.
it gave no steam.
Yeah.
What did you think? Did you notice all of the like the rolling of the eyes that Bruce was doing too every time that Kendra talked in the tribal council? Like she was talking about how this was like it was like a great time to like make connections and build trust with people that you want to work with moving forward. And every time she was saying something like that, Bruce was rolling her eyes. Bruce was rolling his eyes because we saw him at one point earlier in the episode too, like talking to Kelly, being like, "Oh, Kendra's throwing my name out there right now." And I'm just like, I'm interested to see, like, as much as like the Katura Bruce rivalry has been fun, like, I'm very interested to see how like Kendra and Bruce get along moving forward too.
Yeah, it was interesting that he was able to pick up on that so easily because it was like, yeah, that's exactly what she's doing. How'd you know?
Yeah.
But so we'll see. It's gonna be hard for them to get him out without him playing that idol. I think because I think he will pick up on it if his name is being thrown around. So that's gonna have to be something that's like a stealth mission, man.
Right. But yeah, that first tribal council with the blue team, they went. Sifu was voted out. I think it was 5-1. And he just missed out on the jury. Just missed out.
Sucks. Oh,
Poor
it sucks.
guy. Poor guy.
So yeah, I took a hit in that one. Sifu was
finally.
gone.
I say finally.
I've lost
That's
Jay
2 in a row
Maya
for
and
you, man.
Sifu.
Oof.
I know, Jay Maya and Sifu, the 2 Reba members that were on the outs. The 2 Reba members.
But I also think that you're safe with who you have left. Like you've got strong people left. So like
Austin's in it to the 5 at the very least. There's no way he's out before
I'm
that.
feeling good about
He'll
Austin.
win challenges too.
Yeah. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that of all the Lulu members, Emily is the last one standing.
Yeah.
She's probably good for a while too. I don't think there's going to be a target on her.
She is good for a while. Oh, much to my chagrin. Yeah, I think she is good for a while. Emily is set up real nice in this game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, especially because she's the only Lulu left. Like, it's like there's no reason to target her. Unless it's like unless you want to call it an easy vote. But at this point, I'm not even sure it is. But I will say, out of the 4 of us, one of us still has 4 people left on
We
their
know,
team.
Mikey. We know.
Whatever. Because let me tell you something. You can only end with 1.
That's true. That's very true. And I'm also like, I'm also actively rooting against one of them.
Which one?
I want Katura to get Bruce out. I just think it would be great.
We all want Bruce out.
We can sacrifice one for the plot.
Yeah, of course.
For the plot.
I was saying to Gina,
where's Team Petty? Am I doing okay? Do I at least have 2?
You do.
The 3 of us all have 2 left at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The 3 of us all have 2 left, 2 out, and Mikey's got all 4 in. But I was saying to Gina earlier.
On the top there.
I was saying saying to Gina earlier that like it's funny to me that like not only has your entire team, Mikey, made it to the merge, but everyone in your team has made it to jury at the very least.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that was the blue group. Sifu goes home. Let's talk about the red group because they had their merge feast. Not their merge feast. Oh my God, their taco feast. Obviously a lot of people were thinking about Kaleb. Because of course he was technically voted out unanimously in the last episode, but then shot in the dark was saved. But I'm curious what you guys think about like what was going on with this group because we saw Katura get some very interesting information. Obviously, I think it was Dee, Julie, and Austin were thinking about Kaleb, voting him out. But then we had Kaleb, who's very close with Jake, and then Katura possibly deciding to split the votes. Until Katura was filled in that Bruce has an idol everyone else that she's been working with in this game knew about this idol, except for her. And that not only that, but she was tricked because when Jake was, claiming that he was looking for his rings, he was actually trying to help Bruce find this idol. And the plan to split these votes kind of just fell apart. What did you think about all this stuff? This is wild.
Bad call on Kaleb's part to share that information at that time. I get like he was trying to build that trust or whatever and get that in there, but damn, did that backfire. It makes sense too. Like if I had gotten that information and I'm in Katura's shoes, I'm like, oh, these people do not want to work with me. Like I'm not part of this at all. I'm way on the outs here. So I might as well be on the outs on this side and be part of the vote, not be risking going to rocks for anything. Like it absolutely made sense for her to make that decision. And I'm interested to see how it works moving forward with when they all go back together, how that's going to affect everything.
Like, could she potentially find herself on the outs with Belo?
Yeah, I mean, she could try to join up in this Reba tribe, but there's also some interesting stuff happening on the next on as far as alliances go.
See, I go out of my way to not watch them.
I know,
I won't.
I know you do, so I'm not gonna go into detail.
I don't really know why you avoid them because I always talk about them.
Spoilers.
So but they're not spoilers. They're not spoilers. It's the next on.
Right. They're meant for everyone to see. I will say that I always do miss it because I'm usually texting at the end of something or I'm checking Twitter. So I always miss it. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at Phil. So whatever.
Yeah. So obviously,
be
interested to see how this works out for them and if they can pull off what they're talking about, if they really follow through with it. Because that would be cool. But yeah, no, it kind of worked out the way I thought it was going to work out once he said he was going to tell her that.
Yeah.
Because now, also sorry, I was going to say also.
Oh no, go ahead.
Also, what's interesting is that Jake has kept talking about how scared. Meanwhile, Austin's pretty with 2 idols. Well, essentially. In his pocket, like that man is not scared of anything right now. I don't know.
I know.
I don't think. I feel like it was more likely Katura decides to go to the other side and flip the vote than Austin flip the vote to the other side.
Right. I feel like they could have. I feel like Jake and Kaleb could have covered their tracks a little better. Like, if you want to, like, because I do get the idea behind we should be the ones to tell Katura this rather than Austin, because she finds out from Austin first that Bruce has an idol. It's going to look really bad on us. So I get that part. But I feel like, all right, well, then let's come up with a story about how we know this. Like, I don't think they took that extra step of being like, listen, we happened to be with Bruce when he found the Beware advantage. He like made us promise to not tell you because he doesn't trust you. So we didn't want to blow up our own game by saying like, well, we are working with Katura. Like, I feel like you could have made up a story being like, Bruce found this advantage. We happened to be there when it happened. So we helped him find the idol. But now we really feel like you should know this information because we're working with you. Like, I felt like the way they went about it of just being like, yeah, Bruce has an idol. We just didn't tell you. And then Jake being like, yeah, I wasn't really looking for my rings. It was like, that was like the worst
she immediately clocked
this.
him on it too. She was like, oh, that's why you dropped your rings. You pretended you dropped. Like, she knew it immediately. And I think it kind of caught him off guard that she clocked him on it too.
Yeah. It's also what's interesting.
I loved it.
Yeah.
As far as this season goes, what's interesting is that there's been a lot of oversharing. There's been a lot of like truth telling and like giving the whole story. And so far up to this point, it has worked for these people. So at this point, like, it's like, oh, just letting people know the truth works. It makes you feel like you trust them. But we're at the point where it's like, no, that's not gonna fly anymore. Like, you need to, like, it's just, it's kind of like that, like almost like a wake up call. I get, at least, well, not for Kaleb because Caleb's out, but for Jake at least to be like, oh, I can't share all of this information and immediately gain someone's trust just for telling the truth anymore. Like, that's not going to fly at this point in the game.
Yeah. But yeah, Katura did not take the news well and realized that she could not trust the people that she thought she could trust. Decided to vote with the Reba side. and Kaleb was voted out 4-2. This also set up another interesting thing because right as Kaleb was leaving, we saw Jake stand up and say, "Julie, it was me. We can talk about it." Like, what do you think this means for Jake's game moving forward now?
No shit, it was you, Jake. Like, duh. Like, what is there to talk about? Obviously.
Well, sure. But like a lot of other
but
players.
I still think it was good for him to fess up to it right away. It's not something that we were having in a conversation under the palm, like how we usually do with the night vision and all that. No, I'm coming clean right in front of everybody right now. Let's have a conversation. I want everyone to know that I'm down for the conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Y'all done woke me up talking about my baby.
I thought this
was a good move. It was a good move.
I did think this was interesting for a couple of different reasons too, because I do think many other players wouldn't have said anything and then would have tried to cover their ass later. But I also felt like, okay, he's owning up to this now to Julie. But I also felt like this was smart on Jake's part because Kaleb is leaving as the first jury member. So you're reinforcing to Kaleb that I voted for Julie. So you know what I'm saying? So like if Kaleb leaves thinking like, was it Katura that voted for me or was it Jake that voted for me? Now Jake, if he's there in the end, he's made sure that Kaleb knows I'm the one that voted for Julie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit of jury management too, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I just said, you should have honesty is not always the best policy in this game. And like while I don't think this specific thing is gonna really backfire on him because it's like of course it was Jake. Like there's really no other option. Like it's Jake.
Yeah, I don't think anyone questions it at that point.
Right. It's Jake or Katura.
Yeah.
And so if anything, what he's doing is almost helping Katura rather than helping him.
Yeah.
Like it's almost being like, hey, Katura voted with you guys. It wasn't me. I don't know. It's just it felt unnecessary from my perspective, but my perspective is that of not being there in the moment. So
fair.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it depends on how the rest of the events kind of play out.
Yeah.
Because I do think there is some value in owning what you've done publicly rather than privately. Because those conversations were going to happen once you got back to camp anyway. So once you own that in front of everyone, it removes some of the emotion from it. And now it becomes a game thing. And it's like, well, listen, I made this. It was a bad game move. I'm saying I did it. It was wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
It failed.
Yeah. Because
you want to play with me now? I had the constitution to make the hard decisions, to do the things that maybe would make me look unpopular. So that doesn't make me necessarily an unattractive person to work with. Because I've got a strong spirit.
I definitely do think you're right in that it like fizzles out that emotion for sure. Cause like they have a whole boat ride to Stew where they can't talk to each other on the way back to camp. So like I feel like you're right. Like in that it does sort of bring that flame down a little bit.
Oh my God, they get on a boat after this?
Yeah, they get on a boat.
I actually didn't know that either.
They have to sit
I
there.
Think about that. I truly thought they walked with their torches all the way back. I didn't think they actually got back.
Never gave it any thought.
I'm pretty sure
that was part of tribal, that you have to make this grand pilgrimage to the council, and you have to walk all the way back.
I honestly never thought about it like that.
Well, I can't even think about it.
In that boat where like no one's talking,
they're not allowed to talk.
Torches are all blown out, right? And all you hear is hum, and no one's
waves crashing,
pitch black, and nobody's talking. Like that's like the funniest scenario.
I love
some
that.
Of these people sitting
and there's like,
especially when you think of some of those more contentious like tribals. Like I can't imagine the silence.
And there's a producer standing there like a teacher, like.
Right. Chaperone.
Yeah, they're probably saying like, don't talk. Have our night vision cameras. Those are back in camp. So don't say a word.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, that adds a whole different layer to how I look at them.
Yeah.
From the end of the tribal conversation to the beginning of that camp convo. Like that, those two, oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, so like they have that entire time, like, and you're absolutely right. Like if someone doesn't fess up right away, it's like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna be the whole time. I'm like, who is it? Who did it? What's going on? How am I gonna approach this at camp? Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna handle this? But like, what on the other, like when he's like, it was me. We'll talk about it later. Like it's like, oh, Okay, we'll talk to Jake later, see how this goes. You know, like I feel like it definitely like simmers that a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
It
it like
simmers
that.
that a little bit. It also changes how that conversation at camp goes a little bit, because you're not okay. Imagine you're walking. Something just happened. A decision was made that you are not thrilled with, right? But you're also walking. You got the fucking grains of sand in between your toes. You're fucking pissed off. You're hungry. Like so now you're mad cranky, and then you get back, and then you're having this conversation. It certainly puts you in a different frame of mind. If you were only sitting on a boat, you're getting the breeze. You're definitely enjoying the moonlight hitting on the water. You're enjoying the experience of the wind in your hair, right? That's certainly something you're not experiencing while you're on the island. We can get in the car and put the windows down and have that experience. They're not getting it, right? So this is a moment where they are probably forced to be silent, right? Because we've never heard or seen any like boat conversation.
No, they can't talk.
So now you get off, and there's a certain level of refreshment that maybe would come from you, right? So spirits are a little bit higher, and you've had time to silently and privately and individually reflect on what happened at that tribal. Yeah, that can significantly change your mindset going into whatever conversation you're going to be faced with. And if you get ahead of it beforehand and say like, hey, listen, I did this. We're going to talk about it later. I now at least have 10 to 15 minutes of unfrustrated travel time to kind of mull this one over. Yeah.
Unless you get seasick. And then, ooh, baby, that's going to be miserable.
Well, then now the whole thing has been broken up, and now the big focus is that. Like, oh my gosh, ha ha ha. Wasn't it so funny when Gina was like puking her brains out?
Why is it always got to be me?
If one of us is going to puke,
well, because you were the only one that I wasn't talking to in that moment. Like that's all. Special shout out to Liz, starting to believe my theory that they secretly brush their teeth. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yes, they do. Don't tell me it's just twigs and charcoal.
Nah,
absolutely not.
There's
they have pressed toothbrushes out there.
There are far too many people that have played Survivor that we would know. Someone would have spilled.
No,
already.
I don't think that
there's hundreds of people that have
when
played.
You go on these shows, you're not allowed to say, and I feel like that is one of the non-negotiables. They will make you give back your stipends, give back your winnings.
Though?
If you
because this show's been around since
if
like
you know there was a financial consequence to you sharing
those NDAs expire eventually.
Absolutely, there's no way that someone from
do they or does Jeff Probst still has a lock on this?
No,
even maybe 20 years ago, maybe 20 years ago they were using some palms, but these
even
days,
10 years
new
ago,
era, they slinging toothbrushes just as easy as you can find water down by the well. Absolutely not. They are absolutely brushing their teeth. I won't hear it. I can't have it. No way.
Kyle, here's what I'm gonna do for you. Here's what I'm gonna do.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna pledge to only brush my teeth with twigs and charcoal for a month, and we're gonna see how my teeth.
I would like for you to not do that.
I beg of you not to do that, please.
Exactly. For the many people
I'm here for it. I'm on board. I say yes.
No.
Do it.
And we'll do an experiment. And if
the heteros
still
want
look
this,
the same,
those of us. No. Please don't do this.
Michael,
do you think that
there's so many reasons not to do this?
Let me ask you this:
you're trying to pursue a career. No one wants to get your hot, furry teeth breath in their face because you're only using twigs. Furry teeth.
Do you think that on the island they're brushing with toothpaste, or do you think they just have toothbrushes and like they're just brushing like with water? Do you think they're getting toothpaste out there?
They got the little Crest like mini toothbrushes with the little ball of mint in there.
I don't know why you think there are many toothbrushes. There are millions of dollars going into production value of this show.
You know the ones I'm talking about?
They do not have.
Maybe when he
I know they don't have. I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's not what they have because they're better than that. Like they got good toothbrushes. They probably even got the little cover, little travel cover. Click, click, click. Make sure your bristles don't get all fucked up.
Well, they do. They do have their contacts there with them. They have to go put their contacts. They like have like little cases that they put their contacts with.
Sure, the toothbrush is right next to it. The toothbrush is right next to it.
Man, I don't know.
The contacts in, now I can see, and now I'm brushing my teeth.
I'm still on team no brush. I think they're not brushing.
I feel like there's too many people that have played this game for too long that someone would have spilled.
Yeah, someone would have spilled the beans somewhere. A secret recording of somebody talking
especially
about
with,
it would have
especially
leaked
with like
online.
TikTok and everything now. Like everyone is so accessible. There's no way.
I agree. It would have leaked. It would have leaked. Too many players internationally too. You know, like we all watch Australian Survivor.
There's New Zealand
Somebody
Survivor.
somewhere.
They're not part of the conversation, though. I do believe they probably got some minis too, but I would sooner believe that Australia is doing a no toothbrush thing before I believe that we did.
I believe we have actually.
They're rough and tumble down on there.
I believe we've seen clips on Australian Survivor of them using charcoal on their teeth. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we have.
And we definitely have seen Shawnee.
Are we really? But are we going to be so
on.
naive to believe that's the only time this person brushed their teeth? That's what they did for you, for the people at home. Oh, the camera's gone. The camera's gone. Give me that crest.
Maybe I'm just gullible, man. Who knows?
I just think after all these years,
I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
I agree with you. I think after all these years, with how many players have played this game across the globe, at least one person would have spilled the beans.
Yeah.
That's at this point.
Maybe we just didn't find it. Have you watched every pod interview? Did you watch everything?
But I feel like that's the type of thing that like somebody would have screen recorded and posted again. Been like, hey,
CBS made you take it down. No. There's a whole cleansing thing going on here.
This is unrelated. Do we know if we're not getting a live finale this season, are we? Do we know?
Oh, I have no idea.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Chat with a question. What is the deal with y'all's teeth? Because all y'all liars. If you don't give me the answer I want, liar, liar, liar.
You should write into Jeff's podcast.
Yeah.
Byron Allen's gonna lie. If you got everybody else lying, he's gonna lie.
Yeah. No,
he's the biggest liar of them all.
Exactly. He's like the wizard.
Oh my
he's like the wizard.
Who goes there?
I got no time for Jeff Probst. I got no time.
The puppet master, baby.
Right. I'm gonna try to rein this back in a little bit here. We're gonna try to rein this in. So, okay.
I'd like to.
Sifu has left. Kaleb has left and is the first jury member. Now, I do think that the people that we have left, this is going to, I think, create some interesting situations because Katura just voted with Reba, okay? And if she's not feeling good with people like Jake and Bruce and possibly other people in Belo, I wonder if we could kind of see her switch sides. But what's interesting is that we saw Sifu leave tonight. So, like, while Jake, tried to vote out Julie, and Kaleb ended up leaving, a Belo member still did not leave. Kaleb left and Sifu left. So there are still 5 Belo members. Now there are 4 Reba members and 1 Lulu member. Now let's just say hypothetically, Katura switches to the Reba side. If Belo manages to pull in Emily, we could still have like a 5-5 split here. Like this does make the game very interesting. And like it also makes me feel like Jake might not be in that bad of a situation, even though he voted Julie instead of Kaleb, because I feel like he might still be able to go and be Belo strong minus Katura. Belo might all turn on Katura potentially, depending on what Jake says, how he plays it. Like, what do you guys think about this, about the state of the game moving forward here with 5 Belo, 4 Reba, 1 Lulu kind of just hanging out there and some, dissension within the Belo ranks because of Katura?
I have a feeling we're not very likely to see a Belo strong situation here. I think especially it seems that Emily feels much more comfortable with Drew and Austin than with anybody on Belo.
Sure.
So I imagine her going back in that direction. Katura has now voted with Belo. So it feels like she might be looking for options in that situation too. Kendra desperately wants Bruce out of there. So the best way to go do that is to go on over to the other side. I think the only 2-3 people that are truly like still going to be Belo strong would be Kelly, Jake, and Bruce. I don't think anybody else feels that. I don't think anybody else. I don't think Kendra and Katura feel that alliance as strongly as the other 3 do.
Yeah. Do you think Bruce is the most at risk then? Like moving forward, like into the next episode? Do you think? Because I feel like if Katura, like, let's say she swaps and says, I'm going to work with Reba now, and then Kendra is still dead set on working to get Bruce out, like, and she sees working with Reba and Katura as the most likely option. I feel like Bruce, obviously he has an idol, so who knows what'll happen. But like,
he's in a precarious situation for sure. But if he plays that idol, if they can keep him like safe, feeling like he's safe, and they get him to not play that idol, I mean, he's definitely at risk. And but it also depends on, like, he could also win immunity. We don't know who's going to be coming out on top in all these challenges moving forward.
Would you agree though that
pretty split now that Caleb's out of there? There's no like clear like athletic front runner.
Yeah, for sure. Would you agree though that you think that Bruce is probably the next biggest target on the chopping block?
I think so.
So let's say he either wins immunity
maybe.
Or right. Okay, I was gonna say, if he uses his idol or wins immunity, who do you think is the next up? You think it's D?
Well, they've said people have straight up said like D feels like a threat in this game, so that's definitely a name that'll get thrown out. I don't see them going really for Julie or Austin. Emily is obviously in a precarious situation because she's the only Lulu left, but I don't think that that's the direction we're heading either. Bruce is targeting Katura and Kendra a little bit now too. So I don't know. It's really hard to say who would be next up on that list.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Jake could actually have some problems depending on how he manages this whole Julie thing.
True.
You know, like, we have to kind of see how that conversation goes. You know, she's still in the boat mulling it over. So
they're still sitting there,
gotta see.
Stewing.
Right. She's still stewing.
Well, okay.
That's me on the boat.
I want to talk. Oh, Kyle's leaving, and I was just about to do something fun. I was just about to do something fun.
I'm so sorry. I literally can't hold it anymore. I just can't.
That's okay. I can pivot to something else. That I wanted to bring up.
Okay,
earlier.
What do you got, Gina? What do you got?
So I don't know if I have the hot take or if Matt Blevins has the hot take, but he had posted in the chat about how much he loved that fast forward. I hated that they did that. I was so mad because what I get from that, if I see, Jake is talking about his plan and this is what we're going to do and it's going to work out perfectly. I'm going to do this. Now we're seeing clips from the tribal that's going to come about what's going to happen. That tells me, it's not going to work. This plan isn't going to work. It's going to fall to shit. It's not. And I know halfway through the episode that whatever plan I'm watching trying to unfold is just dead in the water.
How many do you know how many votes they showed in that flash forward? I don't remember.
I believe it was just one for each.
I think it was 1 and 1.
Okay, because I don't mind it then, honestly. Like, because we know we're getting a vote that's going to be split between Julie and Kaleb. Like, I don't know. I kind of liked it. I actually thought it was
given a little heist movie moment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just like the fact that they showed it to me. I was like, so everything that I'm watching is for nothing,
I get what you're saying, but I also think it's like it could have gone any number of ways, like it just like we had like the two most prominent options, but there's a couple other ways that could have gone, so I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was like kind of like that's a cool moment, but it's also like I don't think they would have done it if there was only one tribal in the episode.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's not something that would have happened had there only been one tribal to go to, because we had two separate tribals that we're looking at in the same episode. Like, I feel like they felt like they could play a little bit more with the form in that.
Kyle, to catch you up, we're talking about the flash forward.
Hated it.
Oh, why did you hate it?
I'm alone on this?
No,
no, we were split.
This started out with me talking about how much I couldn't stand it.
Gina hated it. Me and Mikey liked it.
Of course. That seems like this the survivor split in this house. No, what is the point of that? Like, I was looking at him like, wait, did I miss this? What am I looking at? You didn't make it clear to me that it was a flash forward until it was basically over. Then I just kept questioning myself whether or not I had seen it or not. I never need that. Especially coming from Big Brother, I like to believe that what I'm watching is fresh, even though in Survivor I know it's not. Like, Don't play games with me. All right, I already know you're leaving out the toothbrush stuff. You're leaving out so
Oh
many
my
other
God.
conversations that I don't know anything about, and now you're flash forwarding. Oh, now you're really playing games.
See, but
Like,
I didn't mind it though, because the first question I asked was like, because I couldn't remember how many votes did they actually show, and from what Mikey and Gina was saying was that it was one for each, and we knew at this point that the vote was going to be split between Kaleb and Julie. So like doing a little bit of a flash forward did not bother me at all, because it showed me exactly what I was expecting to come anyway, and then I was still thought it was exciting when we got to tribal council and we got to find out that Katura had switched her vote because of the information that she got. I thought it made it almost more exciting when we did get there, because leading up to it, I'm thinking we're getting a split vote, and then we end up getting something totally different. Katura is going to switch, and it's going to be 4-2 instead of 3-3. I liked it.
Kyle, what I had said was the reason why I didn't like it was because of literally the opposite of what you just said, in my opinion. I was like, I'm watching this as he is explaining how he's going to pull off this split vote. So the fact that I'm now watching a flash forward while he's telling us this plan, I was like, oh, so the plan's not working. I already know right now from this moment that everything he's saying is for nothing, because it's not going to happen.
and that's also not good.
For me, it's like I'm always up for some creative and experimental editing in a show like this, because like sometimes it really works and it gives us some really cool moments or some really funny moments, like the way they like have been editing Katura's Bruce rants. I feel like I've said Katura's name 1,000 times today, but
she's a character.
But yeah, no, the way like they edit her rants, like sometimes that's new. I think like there was a confessional clip that they posted of her where she wasn't speaking, which I think was the first time they'd ever done that, if I
think so, yeah.
seeing correctly on the social medias. So like it's sometimes it really pays off, and sometimes not everybody likes it, but I'm always down for trying something a little new and fun and exciting.
Yeah,
even if it
I
doesn't
also have
necessarily
to say,
work.
Just along the same vein with like editing and production and stuff, I have to say they've been killing it with like the music and stuff this season.
The music is killer, man.
And that's always been a bright spot to me with that's always been a bright spot to me with like Australian Survivor. I feel like the music goes so hard in those episodes.
The music is so good.
And I'm wondering if they're trying to maybe catch up a little bit here for us.
It does feel like
for US Survivor.
It does feel like certain things are leaning towards Australian Survivor. Like this split tribal, I think, is something we have seen on Australian Survivor before.
Yes,
like, I think that's something that like has come from that sort of world. But I don't know. I always like to see, you got to try shit. You got to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. So
yeah,
I liked it. Not everyone's gonna like everything.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think that Survivor is doing a much better job with experimenting and like trying new things than like Big Brother is doing and stuff like that. So
yeah, it is. It is. I don't like to slander my show. But Big Brother definitely has some failed twists for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. The last thing that I really have to talk about is the next on, because I want to get into it just a little bit. But before that, there was something that Matt Blevins in the chat said earlier about giving Gina a night off from trying to get her to Lidl.
Oh no!
Never. Give it to her. Good.
Actually, Mikey, I wanted to ask you: have you ever Lidled on this podcast?
Like Patrick from SpongeBob?
Like SpongeBob, yeah.
Exactly.
Lidl, like that?
Michael!
Oh, there we go. So easy. He just does it.
Easy. Just checking to see if that's even what we meant. That wasn't even the official
I will
Lidl.
absolutely.
That was just a tester.
It's a SpongeBob quote. I'll do any SpongeBob quote at any time. Yeah, you don't have to.
So, we really got into Lidling. We really got into Lidling because of our friends Lewis and Michelle from The Amazing Race. They really kicked off the Lidling for us. And it became kind of a bit on the podcast. And everyone else that we've asked to has Lidled. Gina has not. She still has not. Even throughout all the begging. Yeah. And so earlier today, Matt Blevins posted something.
Oh no!
It was this cartoon.
I knew this was going to come to bite me.
The Lidl Mermaid. So I decided that I was going to change how I present this, because normally we've just been pulling a clip from the cartoon, like the SpongeBob cartoon. But I made a little graphic for this. So now every time that we Lidl on this podcast, this is what the folks that are out there watching are going to see.
What are they gonna see?
So even if Gina won't Lidl herself, she is still gonna be a part of the Lidling tradition.
Gina,
on
what
this
is the big
podcast.
deal? Just say
She refuses so
She refuses.
hardcore. I don't know. I don't get it.
What's the
I
point?
don't see what the problem is. We've had people from the Mole do the Lidl. We've had so many Lidls. And she just still refused.
Like, it's not hard. Just go do it.
Yeah. Lidl. Like, I just did it.
Oh
Mikey
my
did it.
Lidl.
Kyle did it. All you have to do is Lidl. But since you
I'll do it all day.
refuse, every time it plays now, your face is going to be in that graphic.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Gina, this
And we
is
should
like
also
such
go
an
back
you
on her
could
Instagram
so
and find
easily
like Christmassy
end this.
versions of Gina and put that on the side, like holiday non-needling Gina.
I've
and like things
already
like that.
I've already been going back to Gina's Instagram to look for the perfect picture. I was trying to find like a picture of her as a mermaid.
Not you
But
stalking me.
Oh,
They
of course
exist.
I was. But there's also pictures of you just like at the beach in Montauk, and I figured for the Lidl, we're gonna make Gina the Lidl mermaid. That's what
Gina
she's gonna
is
be
the
from
Little
now on.
Mermaid. She's my
Yeah.
Little
I love
Mermaid.
it.
Lady
So,
Jine.
Gina and I were in the Little
Michael, how
Mermaid
dare
together.
you on a live stream?
That's still
Yeah.
your name
That
in my
nickname.
phone.
And I will
It's still Lady
say,
Jine.
before either
The
of
three
you,
of us did the Little Mermaid together.
That's true.
We did. We sure did.
Yeah, we sure did.
Oh,
we sure
man.
did.
oh,
I can't stand you.
Lady Jine Morgino.
I hate that for me.
And I like how considerate he was to only put it up so high.
I
to
don't
be
even,
like,
Yeah,
the
so my phone
isn't
number
even
wasn't on
that
stream.
page.
That's
but
why
I
it's a
wanted to
true
make
fucking
sure.
friend, right? It's a true fucking
Yeah.
friend.
yeah.
Thank
I
you for
will
not
say-
doxing me.
Which is why you should just lead them.
I will say that I tricked Gina a little bit before Mikey and Kyle got into the studio because I said
You
I had a
did.
surprise. Yeah, I said I had a surprise for the group, but it was really a surprise for Gina. And I said,
So that's not quite what
I
happened.
lied.
I came in and he said, "Oh, I have a surprise for you." And I said, "Oh no, is it for me or is it for everybody?" And he went, "No, it's for everybody. It's for everybody." And I went,
Well,
"Oh,
it was-
good, because
it
it was
was
just
really
for
for
me. That's a
everyone.
problem."
no, I knew everyone would enjoy it, so it was a surprise for everyone. But really,
Right. It's not,
deep down, it was.
it's not that
a surprise for
it
you.
wasn't for everyone. You just didn't know you were the butt of it. And there is a very clear difference there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I was so excited for that moment, literally all day. I'm so glad that we haven't been having technical issues, so we could get to that. But the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the next on. So there were three big things that I saw in the next on. One was that with the players we have left, the women now make up the majority. And it looks like some of them are talking about possibly working together to take out some of these guys. What do you think about the possibility of a women's alliance working their way through the rest of this Survivor game?
Bring it on, baby.
Hell
They've
yeah.
tried so many times and it never works. I want it to work.
Yeah,
I don't really have strong feelings about any of the guys in this game anyway.
Except
So
Jake.
bring it on.
Except Jake.
we do love Jake.
Jake-
We do love
Jake
Jake.
to me is if the city of Boston was granted the ability to become a human being, that would be Jake. He is so ridiculously Boston, it's almost cartoonish.
Listen, I think that if he came on this podcast, the five of us would be great friends. Like, I don't know. Is that me as a mermaid?
That was from Little Mermaid. I was at the bar after. There's a lot
Gosh.
of reflections, so it's hard. Sorry.
But no, I think like, I love Jake. I'm sorry.
I love Jake too.
I love Jake. I love his accent. I love the way he looks.
I love his story.
And I cannot thirst
Yeah,
over him
love
on the
his story.
podcast anymore for solidarity. I found out he does in fact have a girlfriend. I will not be speaking in that way about him on the podcast in solidarity. However, I think we would get along great with him. He's good.
You're
for
allowed
whatever.
to-
It's not like
You're
we're
allowed
out
to
here like
fantasize.
But that
we're not
in
propositioning him.
solidarity
It's not like we're
with
sliding in his
Women
DMs like, hey,
supporting
what's going
women.
on? Like,
yeah.
if anything, that is supportive of a woman. Don't you want
you're
to know that your
encouraging
partner
her.
is a hot tamale?
Yeah, he's desirable. He's desirable.
Right. Yeah. People are hyphenating their names for your man.
Depends on the kind of girl, I guess.
I will
I'm like,
say,
that's right. That's right. And don't message him.
I will say about this potential women's alliance, I do think that like this could be the one to really
Oh,
do
absolutely.
some damage between people like Dee and Kendra and Katura. I feel like this could be the women's alliance. I know, Mikey, you were saying like it's never really worked in the past when they've tried it, but I feel like with the women that are left in this game, Kelly's a beat. You know what I mean? I feel like this group of women really could, I think, go a long way and really knock out some of these guys.
The only thing that worries me is that I don't know if Julie and Dee would be willing to drop Drew and Austin. I don't know if that's a move that they are looking to make soon or ever. It's hard to say. So that's a potential wrench in the
that's
in the
fair.
plan.
That's definitely fair.
What's the phrase? Spanner in the works. There you go. That's a good one.
Sure.
That's very fair. All right. So another thing we saw on the next on was Jake furiously looking for an idol, and it did look like he found something from what we saw. So it looks like Jake
entirely.
Yeah, it looks like Jake clearly thinks he's on the hot seat. Maybe he's being told he's on the hot seat, but he was kind of running around. We did see a shot of the women saying like, "Oh, is he looking for an idol?" And then we saw Jake kind of running, and it looked like he grabbed something off of a tree branch. So maybe Jake has an advantage, but it might not even be an idol. Maybe it's a beware advantage. Who knows? So like, Jake clearly thinks that he's in trouble. And then the other thing that we saw on the next on was the Survivor auction is back. We see it. We've seen it on Australian Survivor, but it's been a while, right, since we had it here on the U.S. version of Survivor. So excited for the auction?
Yeah, I'm excited for the auction. Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
I'm pretty pumped about it, yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Right. I love an auction.
I'm excited to see what the auction looks like in this new era.
Yeah.
You know, it might look a little bit differently. So,
yeah, I mean, I've never seen the like American version of an auction at all. I've only ever seen it in that one Australian season.
It's basically the same as that. They never do like Australian Survivor. They always do that thing where it's like if they bid it on something early, where like one person gets like everything that everybody else wins. I don't think they've ever done that on the US version, but it's the same thing. But basically, what happened was that one season, I want to say it was the Second Chances season. I think it was Cass that did it, Chaos Cass. But somebody like essentially like broke the auction because there's always an advantage. So like literally their plan was like, if everyone just lets the first person have it, then once we get to the advantage or gets to the letter, or once we get to the letters at home, we can all get ours. You know, it was like that kind of thing, and like that like blew everything up, and they haven't done it since then.
Sure.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out this time around.
Interesting. All right. Huh. Wow. Well, that was all I had for this episode. Anybody else have anything else for this episode of Survivor? Anything for the benefit of the community?
I'm just bummed I lost my first draft pick. The first drafted person of the whole season. Gone.
That's right, Kaleb out. See, the thing is, though, like I honestly, I had a feeling about Kaleb. When I watched his...
He's too good.
Right, like when I watched his like intro, video, I kind of felt like he seems like he's going to get along too well with everybody. Like where he's going to have eyes on him pretty quickly. But I will say, Kaleb and honestly Sifu also are two players. The two players that we lost in this episode, they're two players that I wouldn't mind seeing on Survivor again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
although it'd be interesting because Sifu, I think like he would have that target or as like the returning player, but like Kaleb coming back as a returning player would like that's a major player. So that's like that's someone that you get out early, to be honest. So it'd be interesting to see how he maneuvers around that if he does come back.
Yeah, and I honestly, especially Kaleb, I liked Sifu, but especially Kaleb, I would like to see, even if it's not on Survivor, I would like to see Kaleb play something else. Maybe the Traders, maybe something else. He was very good with the physical competitions. Maybe it's the challenge or something like that. You know, like I would love to see Kaleb on something else because I really did like Kaleb.
Well, it looks like we're gonna get J Maya and Sifu on The Voice or something. So let's see.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That video was crazy.
Big fan of that.
That was really funny. They have to write a song together called 4 Steps Down.
I think they must have been doing like they just like, and it's funny because like that thing was like they opened for something at like a college somewhere. They just, which is like how many of these college students are actually watching Survivor, right? So it's just like these two
Like,
random people and like 4 people in the audience know what's going on. I love it. Just the whole concept of it is fantastic to me. Put them on The Amazing Race.
Well, if you're
together.
good enough, it doesn't actually matter where you came from.
That's true.
You're just
That's
those
true.
new artists.
Mhm.
So
Put them on The Amazing Race. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, right. And I gotta say, I followed Sifu on social media, and I've seen some clips of him playing guitar and stuff. He's actually like pretty good. He's actually like pretty talented. Yeah. So,
Jemiah's good too. I listened to a little bit of her stuff as well.
Yeah.
I meant to look it up. I just hadn't had the chance to.
Yeah. But all right. Anybody have anything else for Survivor 45 this week?
No.
Okay. So what do we have coming up? It is Monday the 13th, but Thursday we'll be talking about the challenge 39, right? Well, that'll be what, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time?
9:30.
Right.
9:30.
Okay. We will also be talking about Big Brother Australia that night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Is that what we decided?
10:30.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if you're
finally
watching,
catching up.
yes, we're finally catching up to do our first recap. If you're watching Big Brother Australia, we've been doing exit interviews with all the evicted house guests, but we'll finally be doing our first recap of the season. It's been very busy, but we're catching up. So we'll be doing that. That'll be Thursday. So the challenge 39, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Big Brother Australia, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Kyle, tell us about what's coming up.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's Big Brother UK finale week. Okay, I'm trying to get out of this Survivor chat.
What do you mean? Excuse me?
I can catch up and churn out a chuffed. What?
Oh my goodness! I was gonna ask you about it. You didn't have to be like, excuse me.
Oh my
Well, no, I'm just saying,
God.
excuse me, because that's only my hype. That's only my hype. I'm still talking Big Brother UK to myself. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. We had a horrible double eviction on Friday, and then some things came out about Trish post eviction that
I have
so
been seeing
pleasing.
those tweets. I've been seeing that.
So lots to get into with the next chuffed. Trying to get out of here because I just have to watch 2 more episodes. I'm so behind. I did not watch Sundays. I didn't watch today. Please put churn out a chuff on a shirt. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm thinking if we get out of here by 11, an hour, I can churn out a chuff at like 1 a.m. and just put it up. Okay. So more to come. But yeah, this is our finale week. Our finale is on Friday. So you can certainly expect to hear from me Friday evening into Saturday. Yeah.
You're talking.
So that's everything going on in the Strat Chat multiverse.
I gotta tell you, you're like rushing to get out of here by 11, and it's 10:49. We're wrapping up already, all right, man. So like, we're there.
Right, but now this is the one chance I get to talk about my chuffed. How dare you? Don't do this. It's been a long night. It's been a long night.
I was gonna throw it to you. All right. So that's what's coming up, though. Look out for the chuffed. Look out for the challenge 39.
Yes.
Look out for
Get
BBAU.
chuffed!
Yeah, look out for BBAU. That's what's coming up the rest of the week. And this has been Strat Chat.
Yeah.
Your favorite.
It has been.
John, wait.
Favorite.
It's Monday.
Mikey's got something.
It's Monday, John. It's Monday.
You're right. We haven't done this once. We haven't done this.
Manwan Monday.
I am so.
I love
so
the
happy,
fact.
Mikey. I'm so happy.
Who that is?
I love that to this day, Mikey has no idea
Not
what
a
that
clue.
means, but
Not a
we'll
clue.
shut down our outro for it.
And rightfully so.
It was
To
necessary.
bring everything full circle, that's Jacob from Netflix's The Mole.
It sure
he
is.
also leadled with no problem. Okay, so there's that. Thank you very much. there it is.
Right there.
What a way to go out.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been Strat Chat. Follow us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Find us, like us, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever. Just please be friends with us. All right. Have a good night, everybody.